You've had your meetings with Mr. Doval and the other intel czars. Can you tell us a little bit about the scope of intelligence sharing between India and the US?
Of course. Well, first of all, it's wonderful to be back in India. Really, the tone and the relationship with our new administration under President Trump and Prime Minister Modi was set during Prime Minister Modi's visit to the White House. As you know, they are already good friends. It was a very great opportunity for them to share their joint vision for the U.S.-India partnership and the opportunity for us to continue to strengthen that partnership. So the meetings that I've had here with different Indian government officials and intelligence officials really is set on that foundation of how we can continue to integrate, how we can continue to strengthen our relationship, not only, of course, in my area of intelligence, but we're looking at commerce and trade and defense and education. There's nothing but opportunity that I see here in the U.S.-India partnership.
Well, you spoke about commerce and trade. Of course, there's a lot of anxiety among Indians about the tariff regime. Could you tell us which way that's headed? And in the pecking order of the U.S.-India relationship priorities, where does the tariff regime come in?
You know, what I have heard from the Indian government officials that I've spoken to over the last few days, there is an opportunity here to see more potential for the strengthening of our economic relationship. And I'm glad to see that they're looking at it in a more positive light than just one that is focused in a negative way when we look at tariffs. Obviously, Prime Minister Modi is looking out for what is in the best interests of India's economy and the opportunities available for the people of India. Similarly, President Trump is doing the same for the United States, our economic interests and the interests of the American people. So what I see as a great positive is that we have two leaders who have common sense and who are looking for good solutions. This direct dialogue happening at the very top in both of our countries, but also at the different secretaries and the cabinet members, is going to be key to lay down what that path forward really looks like. And I personally am excited because there's keen interest from the private sector here in India and in the United States to seek out those opportunities and to maximize them.
Ma'am, there's a lot of attention, of course, in the Asia-Pacific region for your visit here and the earlier port of call. I wanted to ask you, what is your assessment of the Chinese threat in the Asia-Pacific region, and do you see India as a key player to counter China?
You know, I've grown up in Hawaii and I've spent a lot of time in different countries across the Indo-Pacific region, and so understand at a deeply personal level the importance of this area for my country. And also, I think just as importantly, in understanding the complexities that exist within the histories of each of these countries, India and China, Vietnam, Thailand, the Philippines, the United States, of course. So what I appreciate about President Trump and his approach and some comments that I heard Prime Minister Modi make recently is they are very practical and they are pragmatic and are looking to strike that balance that will allow us to hopefully prevent any kind of conflict. Obviously, as it relates to China, there are challenges. There are also opportunities. And we have two leaders of two very important countries who will play a very central role in taking on those challenges, resolving issues where they exist, and also maximizing any opportunities. The goal, of course, that we all share is to achieve peace, to increase prosperity, and to ensure stability and security for both of our peoples, but in the region as well.
Ma'am, when you took over, there was a lot of attention to what people said that you were a sharp critic of US forever wars and regime change wars. But you also said, and I'm going to quote you said, when it comes to the war against terrorists, I'm a hawk. How does the Trump administration see the repeated terror attacks on India from Pakistan?
You know, President Trump, through his first administration in the presidency, and it continues now, has been very clear about his commitment to defeating this threat of Islamist terrorism that has unfortunately plagued us, has and continues to pose a direct threat to the American people, but we see how it's been impacting people here in India, in Bangladesh, currently ongoing in Syria, Israel, and different countries in the Middle East. So this is a threat that I know Prime Minister Modi also takes seriously, and one where the leaders of our two countries will work together to try to identify and defeat that threat.
I'd like to pivot a little bit on the ISET initiatives. Do you see India and the US cooperating in the field of semiconductors and nuclear energy?
Yeah, I think there's not really any bounds to where the United States and India are looking to cooperate. And once again, we saw the initial vision and goals laid out by Prime Minister Modi and President Trump in their joint statement that came from the meeting that they had there in the Oval Office at the White House. So there are a lot of different elements, of course, with the private sector and with our respective agencies as it relates to commerce, to see where those opportunities are, to see where there may be barriers to access, and see how can we best, once again, strengthen our mutual economic interests by moving forward together.
One question on dismantling of deep state assets that's being talked about a lot on social media. So I have a question on this. Everybody's watching that, especially the firing of U.S. intelligence involved in inappropriate chats. I have to ask you, were they involved in regime change matters in India?
I can tell you, to my knowledge, the answer is no. I think what you're referring to, unfortunately, was an incident that came to my attention where for an extended period of time we had intelligence professionals who were using an intelligence-based chat network to conduct highly unprofessional and sexually explicit conversation. This not only violates the basic professionalism that we expect of all of our government employees, but it really violates the trust specifically around those, the trust that the American people need to have in our intelligence professionals. So, in my role as Director of National Intelligence, this is one area that is my singular priority when it comes to ensuring that our intelligence community is focused on its core mission.
All right, we have some breaking inputs coming in of this meeting between Tulsi Gabbard and Rajnath Singh, the inside scoop that we are reporting here on Times Now on what really was discussed. What Rajnath Singh asked Tulsi Gabbard, he has asked for a list of SFJ as terror group. SFJ's Spark link also was discussed during this meeting is what we are given to understand. So list SFJ as terror group is something that India wants US to do. Let's go across to Priyank for more on this. Priyank, this is the inside scoop that we are getting and reporting for our viewers here of the conversation between Rajnath Singh and Tulsi Gabbard. And at the moment, what is coming to fore and a very important significant development is Rajnath Singh asking Tulsi Gabbard that SFJ should be listed as a terror group.
Yes, certainly, Swati, that is a big news point because Rajnath Singh and Tulsi Gabbard's meeting ended for the good 30 minutes. The meeting happened at the Ministry of Defense here at the South Block where both the sides had a detailed conversation. We know that yesterday when the NSA had a meeting with her, the point was that neither the Indian soil nor the US soil will be used by the anti-national activities for either of the country. And similar on the same line, Rajnath Singh also spoke to her, and now what we are getting to know that the Ministry of Defense has also sought for detailed response and detailed report regarding the Khalistani activist movement which is happening on the US soil. And there have been series of intelligence gathering unit of the US national security which is also looking at several other countries, so they have a better detail about the funding, the work and all those people who have been indulging in the Khalistan activity. And that is a detail which has been sought by the Defense Ministry.
Absolutely. So, SFJ Seek for Justice is a Khalistani terror group, but India wants US also to announce it, to list it as a terror group in the United States of America. That is a demand that was raised by Rajnath Singh with Tulsi Gabbard in that meeting. Thank you very much, Priyank, for getting us the details. A very quick break with that. Lot more lined up for our viewers on the other side as well.